Today's a new day. Sun came out this morning, and we knew we were going to be, provide an opportunity to move on, and we could be more excited to get the seed, the 8 seed at that, to get the bye, and be able to flip the page into a new season. And I think Lewis alluded to it. And everybody's 0-0 at this point. 24 teams that, in a sense, have a new life, a new direction, and we certainly have to regroup from our performance yesterday. I think we're well aware of that, but not let yesterday define us. Make the sum of it all ultimately define us, and we'll have to take that one opponent at a time here moving forward, and obviously in UT Martin and Missouri State. Two really good programs as far as their performance on the field this year. UT Martin, the champions of the Ohio Valley, and Missouri State, a team that finished second in Missouri Valley. So we'll have a chance to look at both of them through the course of this week, and obviously find out who's going to be our opponent to come next Saturday, and get ready for a great opportunity to be back home at least one more time here in Bobcat Stadium 2 Saturdays from now. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
What are your thoughts on getting the number 8 seed? And as they were listing names, was there any part of you that's wondering, are you going to get that bye at all?
Yeah, as it kind of was unfolding, there was nervous energy. They rolled through those first 4 fast, and they talked, and then probably figured that we were going to be in that next 4 grouping, and they went 4, 5, or 5, 6, 7, and then we were 8. I think it was excited, relieved, whatever you want to say. I think our ability to get that seed was based on our body of work. We play in a tough conference, and for our conference to get 5 teams for the first time ever, I believe, speaks to the quality of our league. We had to go on the road and probably play our 3 toughest opponents. We came out on top in 2 of those and not in the other. Played an FBS team, tough early in the season. So I think our body of work, ultimately garnered that seed, and we're really excited. Certainly know more about Missouri State from my time in the Missouri Valley. Coach Petrino taking over has taken that program quickly in a different direction. They played Oklahoma State right now. Early in the season they played them tough. I know that. I know they played North Dakota State very tough. And the Missouri Valley is always, a very tough conference. So to come out of that like they did, credit to Missouri State and UT Martin, champs of the Ohio Valley. Just taking a glance at their schedule. Anytime you win a league, you're a good team, you're a good program, you're consistent. So, we'll prepare in some ways for both teams as we go through this week, and ultimately be able to flip that come next Saturday.
What are some of the takeaways or lessons you've learned, at NDSU and Wyoming, having a tough regular season loss and then going into a postseason or later in the season trying to rebound from those?
Well, I think each week's its own, no matter when it is. And there was a lot riding on that game yesterday, and we came up short. And we're not happy about that. In some ways, you can't just gloss that over. You got to go back to the drawing board, and we got to come out of our analysis of yesterday with some answers as far as what we need to do to ultimately put our best foot forward. Starting that next Saturday. But I have over time learned that the playoffs are their own deal, and what happened the week before, it doesn't really mean anything relative to the next time you get a chance to be out there. And that's really no different than, football has that ability, because you play one weekend and the next, to ultimately almost hit the reset every time out. And we've been pretty consistent with the team that we've showed up with every week, and that was not the case yesterday. So we got to find that level of consistency as we head in and literally make it about one game. If we find ourselves looking beyond one game, or even who's our bracket, any of that stuff, that's pretty unfortunate if we look at it that way. So our focus will be entirely on those two teams, and then ultimately on one team as we head into that next week.
How would you kind of now, with the day after the Brawl of the Wild, sum up your first Brawl of the Wild experience?
Well, I think it's an awesome showcase for football in this state. First off, whether it's over there or ultimately when I'll get to realize it here in Bozeman. Amazing environment, and I think there's a tremendous amount of intensity, and it's still just a football game to some degree. Meaning you got to go out there and play, and I think ultimately they made more plays than us. They were the aggressor. I thought that walking off the field, and that's certainly after watching it was the case. But an awesome showcase for this state, for sure. And it's a game that we wanted real bad, and we were focused on that. And we had a lot on the line. And however things shook out, it was not for a lack of our kids' effort throughout the week, our coaches' effort. It just didn't happen for us yesterday. And said it to the guys yesterday in the locker room, said even today, that will not define this 21 team though. We have football in front of us. We got to learn from that. We got to lick our wounds and just find a way to come through that and get better.
You coached at North Dakota State when they were winning titles and going through a pretty tumultuous playoff, suspenseful games and all that. How do you try and guide this team and navigate those tough moments, those suspenseful moments?
Well, you got to make it about one game. You got to be as prepared as you possibly can. There literally is no tomorrow. Relative to that outcome, it's win or go home. And to say all that, but you got to still go out there and be able to play freely, play confident, play fast. And a couple things I don't think that happened yesterday. So, we got to learn from that. The moment can't be too big for us, because each one of these moments coming up is there's obviously gonna be a lot on the line too. So, thinking back to those experiences, the 4 years we made the playoffs from 2010 to 13, you got to go in the game confident and on edge. Meaning, you're confident to know that we have enough ability, we have a good team, but on edge enough to you respect the heck out of your opponent. You respect the opportunity that's in front of you. And it's a real fine balance between being confident and being on edge, and that's what we got to find, week in, week out. And I think we've been able to do that by and large this season. It didn't happen for us yesterday, and I think we got to learn from that though. I think just brushing yesterday aside would be a huge mistake. That still happened, and we got to own it as coaches, as players, and honestly, we got to get better at it. I think there's a real opportunity to do so.
Just in yesterday's game, it looked like James didn't see him out there much of it all, and then Ty was in a sling. Can you comment on those two players at all?
So James, that was a decision based on our preparation to play Eric ahead of him, and those decisions made at corner. That's been a competitive deal all the way through. You're talking about Ty Okada.
Yeah.
Ty went down. It was on a punt block attempt, I believe. I do believe we'll get, especially the bye, I think we'll get Ty back. James is healthy, so we got to get James rolling. It's been a little up and down since he's been back, and that's him finding his way again. You sit out for that long, fundamentally, your comfortability, your confidence. Those are all things that we're working back with him, and I know he's a competitive kid though. So look for him to continue to make those strides to make an impact as we move forward.
And anything on Tyrell? Can you say?
Tyrell, he's continued to have setbacks all the way through. Whether he'll be in position to play, next week, I'm not sure.